Welcome to the third week and the second video presentation, video stunt. By now we should have enough grounding as to begin with the real Quranic biblical material. And I've chosen to start out with a theme that not only feels intuitively appropriate, but can also be justified, namely God or Allah, and I should add some other supreme beings of a deity-like nature. As Daniel Madigan puts it, Madigan is the author of one of the articles from this book. He puts it this way: God could be said to be the subject of the Qur'an in a double sense. First, in that God is the speaker, and second, that in many respects God is the center of the text's attention. And here I could add that there are at least 3,156 reasons for that, because that is the sheer number the name of Allah or God is mentioned in the Quran. I only think this is surpassed by the use of the word wa and. Okay, I decided that Madigan's article would provide an appropriate starting point for our Quranic biblical examinations. In this article we get a first good impression of the most important religious themes in the Quran by means of God as the focal textual point. And perhaps I should say that Daniel Madigan is an Islamic scholar. He's a Jesuit. He teaches at Georgetown University in the States. Georgetown is one of the major Catholic universities in the state. And he recently gained his reputation for this book, which is very interesting: the Quran's self-image, writing and authority in Islam's scripture. That's for another time. The anonymous lexicon article from Writings and other editors' Dictionary of Biblical Imagery, which is an openly confessional Christian work, but still quite good. This provides us with some raw materials for a kind of divine comparison in terms of the thematics and imagery pertinent to the Quran and the Bible. So both articles, Madigan's and the God article from this work, are highly synchronic in approach. The numerous presentations of God are somewhat detached from their specific textual surroundings. And this is, of course, an asset in some respects, and it can be a drawback in other respects. But that all depends on your project and the nature of your investigations. Okay, while these two articles do much to clarify the Quranic biblical positions on God and deepen our impression that those two traditions have much in common, they do not really challenge or render problematic the basic conceptual presupposition of God with a capital G, namely the very concept of monotheism and its perceived contender, namely polytheism or paganism. And to this end, Patricia Crone provides us with plenty of food for thought. Her article has a very interesting take on methodology in relation to Quranic studies, and her provoking thesis in many ways upset our usual conceptual layout concerning the Quranic theology and life world. Furthermore, it's a really information-packed article. It's almost it's 50 pages, and there is a risk of getting lost in all the details. And she's really got a magisterial grip on all the details and the variated context of late antiquity. But whether we ultimately agree with her rather revisionist thesis or not is not as important as the many good questions the article raises and the many sharp observations that tags along the very article. And I should also say a few words about Patricia Krone, or Patricia Krone, as she is really Danish of birth, but she is one of the grand old ladies of Islamic studies, but having spent most of her academic life in English elite institutions like Oxford and Cambridge, and for the past 17 years at the Institute for Advanced Studies in Princeton. She is famous for her sharp style and her scientific theses, several of which could be labeled as revisionist in relation to the more standard traditional accounts of the history of Islam. In recent years, she has become more and more interested in Quranic studies and its interrelations with late antique religions, and I really pray and hope for a monograph from her hand in the near future. So this was my presentations of this week's topics and the text. I will upload the study questions for the articles on Aula, and we will also set up the forum for some more practical rehearsals with the material in question. Thank you.